Over the most recent couple of days, a record has been released that subtleties correspondences between the Sea Entryway Titan sub and its parent transport, the Polar Ruler. This record has not been confirmed by any delegates of the organization, hence it can't be expressed conclusively to be exact. Banter has followed to decide whether, as a matter of fact, it is the genuine record of instant message correspondences between the two previous Sea Door leader, Burglarized McCollum, and James Cameron, each freely offered expressions that appear to reflect information on the activities of the team in the time not long before the disastrous occasion. We will analyze the course of events as per the record and contrast that and realize data detailed or affirmed by organization sources. Stockton Rush was accountable for the sub, so the interchanges checked sub. Are his reactions to the boat noted as top in the message string? I will peruse the messages as they show up on the record, however recollect that these were as a matter of fact instant messages and not a sound recording. Clear for plunge take in the scenery, dropping now send off succession. Complete prepared all reasonable procedures, partake in the plunge. Honorable men, this underlying grouping seems to match what has been accounted for in regards to the beginning season of the Plummet Sea Entryway, and its chief Stockton Rush have expressed commonly that it ought to require around over 2 hours to arrive at the Titanic destruction. Subsequently, the appearance time would be assessed to associate with 10:30 am. The profundity they were intending to arrive at would be 3,800 meters underneath the surface. This implies they would go at a speed of around 25 meters each moment. You're 15 minutes into the jump. Current profundity frameworks check, please. Frameworks check. Total altogether. All lights are green. We are 756 procedure. Thank you. Continue. During the main update, the profundity was accounted for to be 756 meters quickly. This would have been a bit surprisingly profound, yet everything appears to be well. Stockton Rush and Paul Henry Nargilly were veterans of submarines. Stockton, as the originator of the Titan, had been down a large number of times. Paul and REA had 37 visits to the Titanic in a French exploration foundation sub and was a specialist on Titanic history. 30 minutes in update, please. All frameworks are working ordinarily. We're looking great. Proceeding with our plummet as arranged. Wonderful. Continue. The subsequent registration appeared to be standard too. As of now, everybody probably settled into their positions and gotten changed. The underlying distress of tight situation. There were 5 individuals sitting in a space no greater than a sovereign-sized bedding they needed to remain situated, with a 4-foot roof above and bended walls to rest up against. With their different levels of involvement, each was unquestionably have various sentiments about the jump. The Dawwoods, a dad and child pair, were presumably partaking in the holding opportunity, watching the marvels of the ocean passing the front window segment of the vessel. Mr. Hamish Harding, pilot. Furthermore, Money Manager was all doubtlessly have been entranced by the thing they were encountering north of brief imprint. Current profundity affirmed. Status profundity at 1,934. All frameworks stable and drop going on as arranged. Cheerful group. Amazing that following update uncovered their position in the plummet. In the wake of being in the water for 50 minutes, they had arrived at 19th and 134 meters. This was more profound than projected in the first arrangement. The travelers were reasonable, really glad at the sights and conversation about Titanic, that ocean life, and what was ahead to such an extent. With the goal that Mr. Rush remarked on the demeanor of bliss in the vessel during his drop update, "You're at the hour mark. Everything is going great here." The following update was standard and everything is normal. This first hour of jumping appeared to be following a similar example. As each plunge before, unquestionably a quality of certainty would have won among the group. The nerves and adrenaline would have settled following an hour. Probably they would have all been taken part in a unique conversation of Titanic and the perspectives spread out before them. You're at 70. 5 minutes profundity status. Do you want to change speed? They're all taken care of at 29. 16. No changes required. We're taking in the scenery. Comprehended. The top side status request at 75 minutes showed that there was an inquiry regarding the speed that they were plunging. The drop rate ought to have been around 25 meters each moment. However, they had been bringing down at a speed of around 40 meters each moment. Stockton answers that he's great with the speed and didn't have to change. He's shut with a consoling explanation that they are taking in the scenery. Sadly, that demeanor of happiness would before long be squashed with a caution we're noticing. I'm caution from the ERTM diminishing speed plunge profundity 3,433. The interesting plummet to the ocean bottom would have been suddenly hindered by a solitary alert for Stockton Rush. It was not whenever he's first heard the ERTM framework alert this framework, which he intended for constant. Checking was laid out to identify any imperfections in the uprightness of the body. This framework was intended to give guidance ahead of time for any likely future harm. As of now, the vessel was just 350 meters from the destruction comprehended. Do you want to climb? No. Change with push. The pace of plunge is expanding at 35, going to deliver the counterweight now reserve. As a result of the advance notice, Mr. Rush attempted to slow the speed of plummet in any event. Utilizing engines, however, the drop proceeded with express the rate to be 35 meters. Each moment yet. Continued with delivering the counterweight. This implied that the significant burdens appended to the sub for drop would be delivered. This would assist the vessel with being more light and battle plunge. Yes, can sure discharge the balance and no improvement planning to discard the outline. Agreed. Update when capable. RTM marker status outline cast off different endeavors required yet beginning the climb. Now obviously the stabilizer discharge didn't slow the plunge rate in the manner he expected. His next choice was to deliver the edge to ease up the sub. After some work, it seems as though the additional weight was delivered, and a climb was starting. It was a short ways from the primary caution to the start of the rising. The travelers would have likely felt fear at a caution, however Stockton Rush was a specialist. With loads of involvement following a few tense minutes, a rising would have appeared, as though a help of sorts. Various endeavors. What is your status? RTM markers profundity update please. While capable braking sound at toward the back, could you at any point distinguish source RTM pointer? Status negative. The following couple of minutes changed with a nauseating sound when you are sitting at almost 6,000 psia. Popping sound would be heart-halting. Stockton was reasonable, diving profound into his tremendous experience to take care of this issue before they passed the final turning point. RTM status. Attempting to run diagnostics. Rising currently yet extremely sluggish sounds have died down worldwide. RTM ready. Dynamic. All reds. The top side was attempting to get a grip on the circumstance, yet was simply ready to assess several words sent like clockwork. It was obviously an incapacitating circumstance for them. There was nothing they could do and had almost no data to work with the ERTM framework. Cautioning all red lights, the body was certainly in problematic shape. Mr. Rush was checking the climb speed with concern since, supposing that they could get to a higher profundity, they could possibly keep away from the devastating disappointment. Saw any code's profundity rising rate refreshes when capable if it's not too much trouble. Stream climb in progress. Quarter anticipated muddled Y strike is little no pointer at 3,476 going for the gold. We are talking it over with the specialist backup. Sadly, the climb rate was just a fourth of what was generally anticipated. They were currently at 3,476 meters. In spite of having dropped weight and endeavored rising for almost 15 minutes, it was muddled concerning why the vessel was not going up with a lighter burden and engines endeavoring to push them upwards. There was no advancement. Profundity and status please. What's the wattage on upwards pushed? Perusing. Read on the A power transport. I changed to B at 3,457 additional sounds rearward. This was the last message from the sub to the topside boat. The organization has freely detailed that they lost correspondences with the sub around 9:45. In spite of attempting to switch engines, there was no development towards the surface. They were currently at almost 3,500 meters, and presently the most unpropitious sound in a submerged sub has returned. The snapping sounds were back again in the rearward local. These sounds would have been an obvious sign for Stockton that the carbon fiber structure was under extraordinary pressure and in danger for breakdown. Unfortunately, the travelers would have invested this energy totally powerless and mindful that they were in a critical circumstance. Perceived persistent and conversing with Carlos about power transport circumstance right now. Reserve. We are enacting recuperation methodology. Carlos is mentioning wattage yield from transport. B announcement please. Speed of rising. We're not getting you. Update please. Status and profundity report. We want you to answer with status. Furthermore, profundity. Carlos is mentioning wattage update on engines. We can't peruse you. We are moving to Recuperation Organizes report, assuming that you read kindly answer in the event that you're capable. It was a short ways from the underlying caution until correspondences were lost with them. Titan, the last messages clarified that the ERTM framework was completely disturbing, a result of structure respectability, and the popping sounds were an unquestionable sign of layers of carbon fiber, moving and bowing. As of now, we realize that the vessel collapsed in every one of the 5 travelers have died. This interchange's breakdown gives us a possible look into the way of disappointment the Titan experienced and the troublesome timetable that the travelers persevered.